Hi, third graders. Welcome to our social emotional learning lesson for this week. What we're going to do today is an activity called Be the Coach. And the focus of the activity is really thinking about something called positive self-talk, which is a way to talk to yourself in a positive way to help give yourself encouragement. Before we start to talk about self-talk, though, I just want to start by showing you a short clip from the movie Cars 3. And in this clip, Lightning McQueen, who's the main character, is in a race and he's not doing so well. He's feeling really defeated and he's tired and he just kind of gives up on himself. And what happens is that he starts talking to his racing coach, Mac. But the person who talks back is not Mac. It's his old coach and his old friend, Doc. And Doc says some things to Lightning McQueen to encourage Lightning McQueen to do his best. Some of the things are maybe not as encouraging as they could be, but there are some really nice things that Doc says to Lightning McQueen to help Lightning McQueen. And so when you watch this clip, it's just 1 minute long. I just want you to watch it and notice the things that Doc says to Lightning McQueen that encourage Lightning McQueen and help him do better. So go ahead and watch this clip and see what you think. What are the encouraging things you hear? Okay. So just go ahead and think to yourself, what are some things that Doc says to Lightning McQueen that help Lightning McQueen get back on his feet and do well again? Okay, so I was thinking there are a couple things that Doc says. He says, if you can race as well as you can fix the road, then you're going to beat these guys with your eyes shut. Another thing he says is just find your groove, get your lap back. And I was thinking, he says things to Lightning McQueen that help Lightning McQueen remember what his strengths are. We talked about strengths last week. So the things that Doc says really help Lightning McQueen realize, like, oh, I have strengths. And he helps Lightning McQueen remember what his strengths are. And that makes it so that Lightning McQueen can do his best. He can believe in himself again. So I'm going to pause the video for a minute. I'm going to take away the clip. I'm going to show the poster I have in the background. And we're going to talk about how to move from using positive talk and encouraging words for our friends and for our loved ones, and changing that into, well, it's continuing to do that, but in addition, being coaches for ourselves and being able to give ourselves encouraging words and positive talk. Okay, so I'm going to pause it. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so I have the positive self-talk worksheet in the background of both my head and my head. I'm going to be writing on this one, but I want you to know that you can just create something like this on a regular sized piece of paper. Or if you have a printer, then your family can help you print out the picture that I took of this poster and you can do your writing on that. Okay, So, what I want you to think about first is to imagine a time that a friend or a family member or somebody that you care about has just been having a really hard time with something. It could be something you can actually think of, a real event that's happened, or it can just be something that you can kind of make up because it could be something that could happen. So take a moment and think of a time that somebody you care about has had a really hard time with something. It could be schoolwork, it could be a household chore, it could be something they're just working on for fun or practicing. And I'm thinking of a time last week when I was helping Junie do her math work, and she started feeling very discouraged. And she started kind of acting angry and saying, I just can't do this. I just don't understand anything that this is asking me to do. She's very frustrated. And in the first thought bubble, I'd like you to write down what you think the person that you care about might have been thinking when they were having such a hard time. So for mine, I'm going to write down, I don't understand anything that this is asking me to do. Or a short way to do that would be to say, I don't get it. Go ahead and think about what the person you care about might have been thinking for the scenario you're thinking of, and write down that thought that they might have been having. I'm going to stand up for this. Okay. So I think Junie might have been thinking, I don't get it. Okay. Now, in the second bubble, I'm going to have to lean down here. In the second speech bubble here, write down something that you might say to that person when they're having a hard time to help them feel better, kind of like what Doc did for Lightning McQueen. So I'm going to think for a minute when Junie's saying, I just don't get it. What might I say to her? Okay. So I was thinking that I know that Junie can be a really great math thinker. I know that if she slows down, she can do really hard things that she doesn't think she understands at first. So I might say to her something like, you actually understand a lot. Take a deep breath and keep trying. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and write down, if you haven't already, what the person you care about might have thought in this hard time, and then something that you might say to them to help them feel better. And restart the video when you're ready. Okay, now comes the trickier part. What I'd like you to do now is think about sometimes, maybe there are times that you're imagining, or maybe there are times that you've had recently where you've had a hard time with something and you've kind of felt like Lightning McQueen at the beginning of that clip, where you just want to give up. Maybe it's schoolwork. Maybe it's an interaction you've had with a family member or friend. Maybe it's how you felt when you have been reading the news or talking about the news. Maybe it's when you've been trying something new or working on an art project or a Lego project. Sometime recently when you've just really had a hard time. And now imagine that you could kind of be your own coach and talk to yourself and tell yourself some encouraging things. What are some things that you might say to yourself to help yourself remember your strengths and keep trying? and do your best. So I don't want to write anything in mine because I don't want to give you any ideas. I really want to see what you can come up with about encouraging words that you can tell yourself to help yourself remember your strengths and keep trying and do your best. So in these last 2 speech bubbles, I would like you to write down 2 different things that you could say to yourself when you're feeling down, when you're having a hard time with something. To be your own coach, to give yourself some encouraging words so that you can keep trying. When you're finished with that, please send it to me. Please send it to me by Thursday if you can. And I will write them all up and send them out to the class so that we've got some really great positive self-talk that we can give to ourselves when we're having a hard time with something. It's such an awesome skill to have. It's so great to have some things ready to say to yourself that might help you give yourself hope and remind yourself of your strengths and keep trying. Okay, thank you so much, and I'll see you later.